Good damn, yeah, it's still morning, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. Video number 2 for the day of my return from my 7-day suspension from YouTube. People, you cannot tell the truth. Don't do it. You get in trouble for that kind of shit. But a lot of things have been happening on my time off. So one of them I saw was the NFL is saying that they want to give draft picks to teams that hire minority coaches and GMs. Stop. Coming from a company that has more than 70% black employees. What else? Don't you know that this affirmative action kind of shit breeds animosity? What about coaches that aren't colored that get passed up because they're not colored? Look, the NFL is a business. If there's anything we've learned, the NFL is a business. When you have murderers, thugs, rapists, you have on tape someone knocking their fiance unconscious in an elevator. Come on, it's a business. So all they care about is money, aka winning. Winning is paramount in the NFL. Winning is paramount in professional sports. They don't give a shit what you have going on or what you look like. If you can win, you're in. Now, right now they have the Rooney Rule, which means you have to interview X amount of coaches of color before you make a hiring decision, whether it be head coach or GM. I think it's in effect for the GM. Head coaches for sure. Why? Do you think somebody is going to sit there because they have stuff like this because of racism, right? So you think somebody who's a real hardcore racist, who does not like an entire group of people because of the color of their skin, is going to see this Rooney Rule and go, oh, shit, I didn't even know. Hey, man, I'll hire you. Come here, man. Thank God for the Rooney Rule, because I wasn't going to hire your colored ass until they enacted it. You're not fixing people. You're not changing racism by forcing teams to go through this process. Teams are going to go with who wins, period. I don't care what shade you are. If you win, you're in. That's all. Teams want to win. Winning means more money. Winning means more power. Winning means more winning. That's all that matters. All you're going to do is piss people off by only hiring coaches because of the color of their skin and not their qualifications. Who the fuck is doing that? Who is not hiring people because they're colored in a business, in a league with over 70% black employees? That shit sounds even more stupid when you say it out loud. See, I read it, I hadn't said it out loud yet. Now that I do, that shit sounds even more stupid. Anyway, speaking of stupid, you have your girl, David Lopan, who's not playing nice. She's name calling. What do you learn as a little kid? You're not supposed to call names. Nancy came out and called the president morbidly obese. Nancy, that's not right. Especially coming from someone who's morbidly elderly, if that's a term. You liver-spotted demon. That's not very nice. You're supposed to be the party of inclusion and caring and loving everybody and not fat shaming or whatever, slut shaming and all these new shames that are out there now. Now, Trump's talked shit about her, about what a terrible politician she is, and she is. But he's never made personal attacks against your mush mouth. Can someone be morbidly alcoholic? Because that's what Nancy Pelosi is. That's what David Lopan is. Have you heard her speak? I like to call her Dudley Moore. Remember that actor from the 80s, that British actor? Dudley Moore. That's how his fool always talked like he was perma-fucked up. Nancy, you so mean, girl. Where you been like that? But that just shows when you have a situation with somebody, or you're talking with somebody, or debating with somebody, or you're on the opposite side of a belief with somebody, when they start calling names, that means they're all out of intelligence. They're all on the subject. They're all out of talking points. They've run out of knowledge about what you're talking about. So then they got to resort to calling names. Nancy, are you worried? Are you worried that the China virus bullshit we're dealing with is shining a light on some of the things that you do? Like your hero act bullshit that couldn't get passed through because you had too much damn pork in it? If it was really a hero's act that you wanted to push through, which, by the way, is bullshit. These people aren't heroes. Firefighters and policemen as a whole are not heroes. There are some that do heroic things, meaning you put your own personal safety aside for the benefit of someone else. Now, yes, they do this on a daily basis, but they are compensated for it. All right, so that takes out the whole hero thing. I'm related through marriage. My wife's uncle is a fireman, a high-ranking one at that. And he would tell you, I'm not a hero. I'm doing my job. That's why they selected it, because they wanted to do that job. But if you want to have a hero's act, then make it just that. Make it clean, trim the fat. Here's what it is. This is money for this group of people. Period. Should have been passed in 5 minutes through the House and the Senate. But when you stuff it with all kinds of stupid shit like amnesty, which has nothing to do with the Heroes Act, then you got people sitting there who need money who don't have it because you told us we can't work unless you're essential. So if you're taking their job, you have to replace their income. And if you're going to do that, do it. Don't use it as a Trojan horse to fuck us later down the road. Now, speaking of the China virus bullshit, my wife and I were reading up on how they plan to reopen the schools. I don't know if this is etched in stone, but these are their ideas. They're talking about no lunches. You know, for kids who get free lunch, everything has to be prepackaged. Kids will have lunch in the classroom. There will be no more recess, no more playground, no more assemblies. There will be no more going from different classes. You know, you go to music class, the library, whatever. Everything will be done in the same classroom with the same teacher. No sharing, you know, crayons and shit and food. No more sharing of any kind. The buses will be a kid in every other seat. They want to have those bullshit, ridiculous, pointless plexiglass dividers in between the kids at their desk and on the bus. What kind? If they do that, if that's how they're going to do things, then my wife and I are going to homeschool our kids next year. Period. We've already been doing it for months. I don't want to send our kids into some weird new fucking society where everything's blocked off, everything's impersonal. That's not how kids operate. We've been telling them their whole life, you need to share. Now we're telling them you can't share anymore. So now we're going to make a bunch of scared hypochondriac pussies in the next generation. That shit is weird. That's not school. School isn't just, this is things we're learning homeschooling, being with our kids more. High school. School is not just about reading, writing, and all that kind of shit. The scholastic end of it. A big part of it is socialization. Our kids miss each other because the kids in their grade are the only ones who can match their level of silliness, for lack of a better word. You know, they want to be around kids their age because they're on the same level. They're into the same things. They're into the same silly things. They find the same things funny. We can try all we want to be on our kids' level and play with them and do the best we can, but we're not children. Like my kids, my son is younger. He's not on my daughter's level. She's twice his age. So he can only go so far playing with her. There's certain things she's into. There's certain things she likes. Toys, TV shows, all that kind of shit. That only other kids on her age are on her level. Kids miss that. So now, after summer and all this shit, they haven't been around each other for a long time. You remember how the first day of school is. Some of your friends you haven't seen since last year. So you seeing your friends again for the first time, you're excited, you're happy, but you're supposed to go against all of this child and kid inside of you and not run up and hug your friend. Well, they run up and do air hugs, bump elbows, and then go sit in your sectioned off desk behind your plexiglass with your sterilized materials. That shit is weird. And it's setting you up to get even more sick later because your immune system ain't going to be shit because it's been on vacation for 6 months. That shit is weird and wrong. That's not how children are wired. That's not how they operate. Everything is sharing. Everything is too close. Everything is playing. You know how many times I go pick up my son from preschool and his best friend just wipes 40% of the snot in his body on his hand, and then what do? They grab hands and run off to play. Children need to be around each other. What do you mean no more recess? What the fuck? That's where half of your childhood learning goes down, is on the playground. The hierarchy of the playground. That's where you get hurt. That's where you play. That's where you're with your boys or with your girls or whatever. No more playground? So what are you going to do with all that space? Every damn school on earth has a playground. You let everything grow over and look like fucking Chernobyl because no one's been there for 20 years? This shit is fucked up. If anything, just have parents sign a waiver. If my kid comes back to school and get corona, I won't sue your ass. But when schools open up, shit needs to be like it was. I don't know how kids are going to deal with this social distancing. What are you talking about? I'm not going to say 6 feet apart. Kids don't know what 6 feet is. And then you have all these other states that have been open for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Shit is fine. You got the mayor of Atlanta coming out saying, my bad, y'all. This shit ain't as bad as I thought. My bad. Whoops. Come on now. But here we are, California, head of the dumbasses, not doing anything. Gavin Newsom says, we can move on to phase 2. Fuck your phases. California has 40 million people in it. We've had 3,000 deaths. Every loss of life is terrible. But if you're talking just math, it ain't shit. They're telling us in the beginning, it's going to be 2.3, 2.4% of the population. It's like 0.03. That's not even a half of a percent. So what happened? 3,000 people dead out of 40 million? We lose half of that in automobile accidents and drunk driving accidents. Did you know that 40,000, yes, more than a dozen times the number of dead from the China virus, more than 40,000 people every single year in California die from cigarette-related illnesses. 40,000. I can walk into damn near every store and get a pack of cigarettes or a cigar or a cigarello, whatever the fuck that is, or a can of chaw or a bag of fucking beech nut to get cancer in my mouth and have them saw half of my face off in 10 years. I can still do that, but you're telling me I can't take my kids to the fucking park? Remember that shit? I think they still do it in some other countries. I can't remember where I was overseas, but they have the pack of cigarettes and it shows you what your lungs look like when you smoke, or they show you somebody who had their face carved up because of cancer, or they show you, the inside of your body. What if the outside of your body looked like this? Would you still smoke and all that kind of shit? And guess what? People still smoke. You can't save us from ourselves. Leave us the fuck alone. Lift these stupid rules and let people get back to work. Because you're shutting down our world over 3,000 deaths. Yet, 40,000 people a year die from cigarettes, and I can get them anywhere. Make that make sense. Now, you know what time it is, people. I'm at the end of my state-mandated meal period. So I gotta hop back in this rat race to generate tax revenue for them to continue to fuck us. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell, because every time it rings, a piece of shit liberal cries. Make sure you get your Jericho Green notification tone. Link in the description box, just $1.29. Utilize the PayPal link and the Teespring link to get your green gear. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm